All right, this is the Big Al and Dave podcast. I'm Dave, sitting over here with Al.
Big Al,
Yeah,
a.k.a. Raider X.
Of course, you got to get that one in there.
That's right.
And did you see the NBA All-Star game yesterday? What'd you think of that?
Oh, I was really excited about the All-Star game before it started.
You were excited?
Oh, yeah, I was excited. You know, they got you all hyped up. You wondering what KD and what
KD and Westbrook.
KD and Westbrook was going to do. And
even
then,
I was interested in that.
I know. Then, once that game got started, it was a travesty. It got to where it was
a travesty.
It was unwatchable. They turned it into a glorified shoot-around. No defense at all. And then you let Anthony Davis score all the points. You know what? You got to put an asterisk about, on the back. It was, 52 points? Got to put an asterisk there. Because, you know what? When Will Chamberlain set that record, everybody was playing hard. Yesterday, they just gave him the points. And when they knew it was close, they just let him score 20 points just like that.
Is it by far it was the record for the most points? What was the final score? I don't even know.
Like 190.
I was like,
190 something to 170 something.
I was like, man, they're gonna hit 200. Oh, it was 20 points. Oh.
It wasn't 20, but it was like I turned it off before it was at the end. But it was because all it was doing is just going down there. Nobody was in front of Anthony Davis, and they were just throwing alley oops right to the rim, and he was just slamming it. It was just like a shoot around.
I watched some of it actually.
Obvious, it must not have been that good because you're saying only some of it.
I don't watch the NBA. I watch the NHL. I was watching the Kings-Ducks game last night.
You and about two other people.
Well, I know you didn't catch that because you don't have center ice. Well, no, it was a free preview, center ice. Do you have cable or?
Yeah. But they have to pay me to watch that. Look, they'd have to probably pay me what they paying those players to go out there yesterday. Where in the world I'm watching a hockey match?
Hey, but when I was watching the All-Star game, I thought the alley-oops and stuff was pretty exciting.
But you can see that if you go there and watch a warm-ups, you can see that all the time. It's like somebody wanted to see somebody playing some semblance of defense.
There was no defense.
No defense.
There was
not
none.
Even. I mean,
there was no effort on that.
I mean, you just let a person go straight by you,
They
wide
were.
open,
It was.
and let them dunk the ball. It's like
So they used to play defense when Wilt Chamberlain set the record?
up until about 2 years ago, they played.
Yeah, because I guess this is
at least they've been playing defense in the third and fourth quarter. But yesterday was the first game that they just decided this is going to be no defense. And
second year in a row they did that.
that's right. And Steph really made a mockery of it by just laying down on the floor when the guy was coming up to dunk the ball because he didn't want to get posterized. And you know what?
They're
it was
laughing.
pretty fitting that on the next play he got posterized.
What's posterized mean?
You know what posterized means? It's when a player go up to dunk and then the other person be in the background on the poster and they just showing him dunking and this other person is falling down and stuff.
Posterized?
They call it posterized.
That's
and
awesome.
he got poster. The first play he didn't want to get posterized, so he fell down so he wouldn't be in the shot. So the next time he was going up for the rebound and guy just came and reached up over his head and just slammed it right over the top of him.
I never heard that term before.
You've never. Well,
that's
this
a good
because
one.
you're not really a NBA fan. You hear it a lot in the NBA.
I'm a hockey fan.
I understand.
Speaking of which, man, Kings have lost, what is that, 4 in a row now?
4 in a row, the Kings. They sort of like them Kings over in Sacramento, huh?
Although I call them the imposter Kings.
Oh, okay. So I guess
I'm talking about the Sacramento Kings.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess it's no king right now. Both Kings is bad, huh?
Oh.
So the Kings on the verge of making the playoffs at least. They was pretty.
Or what? 2 points out of it right
but
now.
But when I understand, there was a pretty good team a couple of years ago. They won the championship.
Won two Stanley Cups.
That's right. What happened to them?
Well, our number one goalie's out. He's been out since the whole season.
Well, I guess that makes a difference.
And then our top player has been, he's had a rough year. He was injured, Kopitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, you watch a lot of weird sports anyway, so do you watch soccer?
No.
Well, right before I was coming here, I heard something. I saw something on soccer. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I think it would work in a lot of other sports. Watching the soccer match, I guess it was a team from Vietnam playing, and the official made one of the most egregious calls. It's just obvious it was such a bad call. So the way the soccer team protested is they just quit playing. I mean, they was out there so they couldn't take them out. But the next team got the ball, and they went down and kicked the ball in the goal. They just kicked it back out. They just kept going back and forth, kicking it right back. And the other team was just standing there and letting one team play. And it was just going play after play after play. And my understanding in taking score of soccer, that they add the points totals up and stuff like this to your championship at the league and the standings. So what if you let this one team go? They might be sorry you let them score 60 points and stuff. They're going to automatically be in the playoffs.
That is
something else.
My least favorite sport is soccer, because that is something soccer would do.
That was like, I just thought that was not. You're going to protest. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, sometimes we have bad calls in football.
No.
Maybe we should have those kind of protests. Just stand up there and let the other team play. Or in basketball, and they make some of these egregious calls.
Let me guess. The Raiders would be 0-16. Because they're getting all the bad calls.
We get a lot of them. You understand that.
You'd be sitting down the whole season.
Whatever.
Oh, you know what? Actually,
we have excuses for losing.
That's not a bad idea.
When your team lose, well, y'all don't have that as an excuse. They just garbage.
Well, if you didn't have Derek Carr, you'd probably be in the same boat. Anyway, let's talk about...
But we got him.
Hey, look out for Mitch Trubisky.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Raiders, let's just comment on your wardrobe real quick. And since the All-Star game was in New Orleans, you have your... We'll put up a picture of this. Your New Orleans-themed Raider hat. You were at the Saints-Raiders game on opening week. And
yeah, and wore this one.
Did you make that?
I made this.
Big Al's Sports on Facebook.
I'll put a picture on it today.
Yeah, you can check that thing out. Oh, man. So we're talking about the Kings, and I'm sure everyone's coming here to hear about the Los Angeles Kings, but we'll shift gears to the Sacramento Kings, who had the biggest sports news of the day, trading DeMarcus Cousins, their franchise player, by far their best player, probably the best center in the league, right?
Yes, arguably.
Traded him to the New Orleans Pelicans.
For nothing.
Well, they got Buddy Hield, right?
Yeah,
he's the one that punched DeMarcus Cousins in the junk a couple weeks ago, didn't he?
Yeah, they got Kyrie, who used to be on their team.
Tyreek Evans.
Tyreek Evans. Yeah, they got him back. He's like a retread.
I was like, oh, hey, I remember that name.
Yeah, they got him back. And another, like, I think a second-round pick in the next, and some other player that...
I get the Philadelphia 76ers first-round pick?
No, they didn't get this. But let me tell you something.
What?
Everything they got was garbage. And you know what? And then just listening to some of the fans calling in, talking to all the fans hating.
You were listening to Grant Napier on the way.
Yeah, and you know what? They got to pay him to say good to try to justify
if you don't like
this
that,
trade.
You don't like NBA basketball.
That's right. He's got to try to justify and give credence to this deal that they just made. This is going to go down as one of the gross. I mean, this is the worst deal I've ever seen.
Isn't that just adding it to the list of Sacramento Kings deals?
Yes, but this was way over the top. But you know what, I called in on one of their shows a year ago, and I told them the exact same thing. I said, you know what, DeMarcus is like, he's a big fish in too small of a pond. I said he would be a good player if he went to another team to where he wasn't the big fish, that somebody else was better than him. He could be a star. I say, but when he is at the star, your team you building around him, he's a mental case and can't handle it. He's going to go to New Orleans, and I feel he's going to be a star because it's going to be somebody that's better than him.
Yeah, Anthony Davis.
That's right.
That
so I think he's going to really turn things around And the Warriors, we might have to meet them in the first round. They might win a game.
Whoa. Okay, so this is what I was reading and I was telling you about earlier. Is New Orleans now a threat to Golden State?
They might win one game.
Do you think the Warriors need to get a big man to offset this trade? Are they in big trouble here?
Obvious you ain't been watching McGee play. He is a big man who can deal with either one of those.
I've never heard of that. Who's McGee?
Bamel McGee. Believe me, he is playing really good.
I watch the Los Angeles Kings. I don't watch the Warriors.
And it shows. Well, believe me, I look at this trade, and you got all the teams in the East who's trying to catch LeBron James in Cleveland. All of them teams, it could have took like the second, third, fourth, fifth team in that conference could have been on Cleveland's level with a trade like to get him. To get Boogie. And none of them did, especially Boston had 3 first-round draft picks.
Vlade Divac.
Just give him one, and they could have just easily been in contention for the number 1 seed.
Vlade Divac, the GM the Kings,
oh, yeah.
He said that they had a better offer 2 days ago, and then they didn't take it.
Then you know what? He should be arrested for gross negligence.
Well, I guess he's been negligent for quite some time now.
Well, you know what? Just to say something like that in public.
I know, that is kind of like, what the hell are you doing?
What does that say about your credibility? I mean...
He's an honest guy.
What do you tell your fans? If that's paying big money to
they got the new arena this year.
Got a new arena,
oh,
and
man.
you say, "Well, you know what? We gave up a better deal to take less.
We just got to get this guy out of here.
We just got to get him out. But we didn't want the best. We just wanted anything to get him out of here. You know what? They're gonna stay garbage for a lot of years. That's gonna be 4 wins. How many times we played in the year? 4. That's gonna be 4 wins. We're gonna pick up every year for at least 10 years.
This is a good thing is the Sacramento Kings have a lot in common with the San Francisco 49ers as far as they don't know what they're doing. And I guess both ownership groups are, and this ties in with we're talking about soccer, both ownership groups are a big part of the new Sacramento Republic soccer team. So nothing but optimism in Sacramento soccer.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm just loving it. I know a couple of Sac fans, and I just get to pick on them a little bit.
Do you hate the Kings?
No, I don't hate the Kings.
Do you like that they're on? We live in the Kings region, so
I hate that.
They black out the Warriors.
I wanted them to leave so bad I didn't know what to do because all the Warrior games was blacked out. But
nah.
I done figured out a way around the blackouts now. I don't have to have that anymore.
Aren't the Warriors on national TV all the time now?
Yeah, but I got a sling box, and you hook a sling box. I hooked it up to somebody's television in the Bay Area, and then I just go on my laptop or on my desktop, and I just watch the game with the feed coming from the Bay Area. So, I done got around that.
You'll watch all the Warriors games on a laptop?
My desktop is hooked up to that 24-inch
Okay.
high-definition screen.
Now you got it set up, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so.
I was trying to watch Los Angeles Kings games on my laptop, and that wasn't happening.
That's probably all you needed to have to look at at a hockey match.
Too much buffering.
You would never think, you're probably the only person in California is looking at, well, I guess it's a few Sharks fans out there.
No, they're big time in the Bay Area. Well, the Warriors, ratings-wise, clobber them, but, yeah. Sharks are a big deal.
Okay. I know 1 or 2 people on their team.
I mean, the LA Kings get clobbered by the Clippers in the ratings. Always have.
Hockey get clobbered by everybody in all the ratings. I think bowling might beat them.
It does, yes. Soccer does.
Wow.
Soccer is the 3rd most popular sport it's either that or mixed martial arts are the most popular sports in America.
Well, baseball is going to drop down below
and baseball's below those 2.
Yeah,
baseball's below soccer and mixed martial arts.
Well, baseball is doing it to themselves. They all these traditionalists and stuff who wants to keep all these antiquated rules and stuff going on. So they're gonna be like a few years from now. They're gonna be like
They're done.
roller derby.
It's over. I don't think it'll be that bad.
I don't know. They better do something to start, attracting them.
Let them start juicing again.
This be okay with me, as long as my kid ain't doing it.
Well, hey, we're going to keep on with this NBA-themed kind of show, and let's keep talking about the Warriors, because your boy, Draymond Green, had to go off on, I don't know, why is he being asked about the New York Knicks situation with Charles Oakley getting kicked out of the game. We talked about it a little bit last week. And Draymond Green referred to it as James Dolan as a slave master mentality, kicking Oakley off to the curb. And what are your thoughts on that?
You know what? Draymond's my boy.
Uh-huh.
But sometimes Draymond is over the top.
Sometimes?
A lot of times he's over the top. But that comment...
I got a bunch of stuff on here.
That comment I really didn't really agree with that. And even after I heard it explained sort of the way they thought he might be coming from.
Draymond explained himself?
Draymond didn't. Other people was trying to, make some kind of sense of what it was. But it was just so to say it was like a...
I can make sense of it. Draymond's an idiot.
I can't say that about Draymond. I just can't say that because he is my man. But that was an idiotic statement. So maybe
this is the same guy who on Snapchat sent a dick pic to 400,000 people. Did you hear about that one?
Oh yeah, I heard about it. I never seen it. I never looked for it either.
You didn't look for it?
No.
I did.
Well, that's the difference between
I didn't see it.
That's the difference between me being a Raider fan and you being a 49er fan.
Is that what that
Real
is?
men is Raiders, and we ain't going looking for that kind of thing. Real men just look down.
Do you think Draymond and his spouting off will have a negative effect on the Warriors going forward? Because, I mean, he did kick LeBron in the nuts last year. And
it was not LeBron that he kicked.
It wasn't?
No, it wasn't.
I thought
it was it Adams, a dude on the OKC. And
he did that too. He did both.
No, he didn't. LeBron, his hand just kind of went up that way.
Yeah.
It didn't, but barely.
Oh wait, there was 3 times Draymond went for the nuts. What's with this guy? What's with this guy in junk?
Hey,
he's trying to tell us something.
By any means necessary.
Well, yeah. How did it work out for him?
It didn't work out good, so he's gonna have to control that. Sometimes Draymond is.
Then he called. Control. I guess the quote is he called LeBron a bitch, which I guess LeBron is a bitch for saying that he got called a bitch, but it's still out there.
Yeah, I think that's the worst thing that you call some of the basketball players. They out there talking trash the whole game.
That isn't the worst
thing.
They
talking about their mama sometime and then their wives and everything else.
But I don't disagree with him saying that LeBron is a bitch, and then LeBron goes out and say that he said I was a bitch.
And
right.
LeBron it was because...
Either way, LeBron
treated it like he was above all that. That you might could talk about some other player like that, but LeBron is the king, and you can't.
I can't disagree with that.
You can't talk to him like that.
I can't disagree with that.
He's one of the biggest crybabies, just like Chuck said. He's just whining.
I can't disagree with that either.
Whining about everything, and he's almost over the level of a flopper like that flopper Blake Griffin. He's almost on that level.
LeBron wasn't whining very much after the finals, was he?
He was fake crying. Faking. You know how Trump be up there saying fake news? Well, he was fake crying.
When he won the finals?
Yes, he was fake crying. He's like, he knew exactly what he was doing. He's a faker. You know what? But this year, we going to really make him cry. He ain't gonna be no fake. Just sweep him in 4 straight games.
Another thing about Draymond is he was going off on agreeing with Kyrie Irving about maybe the earth is flat. Did you hear about that?
I didn't hear about him agreeing with it, but I heard about
he was saying, hey, maybe it is.
Well, I think he was just kind of just adding a little fuel to the fire, but I'm telling you right now, that was about the most idiotic thing I've heard in my life.
The earth being flat?
The earth being flat. It's like, how could it possibly be flat? If you take off going east, and you got a compass or something there, and it's keeping you going east. And the next thing you know, you go to New York, and then you over in London, and then you hit Japan, and then all of a sudden you're going across the water, and you hit Hawaii, and you're back in San Francisco where you started. How did you do that on a flat surface? You know?
When does it end?
And some people mind it never ends. You know, like that's why they say a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And you know what? He lost a lot of credibility with a lot of people right there. Some people
Kyrie
just
or
actually
Draymond?
Tyree.
Or both?
A lot of them, maybe both of them.
Why does Draymond have any credibility, actually?
Because he's Draymond.
Because he wears a Warriors jersey.
He wears a Warriors jersey.
That's why he has credibility.
And he's outspoken, and people want to hear what he say.
Just say he's kind of dumb.
I'm not saying that.
The guy went back to his Michigan State.
Yeah.
He got into a fight with one of the football players in a bar.
Did he win?
No, wait. His people slapped him around. And then the next day, I guess, they went to talk about it, and he slapped him around. Draymond slapped him around?
Yeah.
He slapped him.
What's wrong with that?
He probably tried to slap his nuts.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Hey, that's where
He's got practice there. I tell you one thing, you better, when you come around him, you better wear a cup.
The guy's out of his mind.
Hey, yeah.
Now, let's talk about Charles Oakley again, because, I don't know, last week, you said Charles Oakley was in the wrong.
Yeah.
But you kind of sympathized with him a little bit. And it sounds like, because I guess Al Sharpton is getting on this Charles Oakley bandwagon. Maybe there's more people thinking about the slave master mentality, and they're turning it into like a race issue with Charles Oakley. Because there's like free Oakley t-shirts. They're treating him like he's a sympathetic figure.
Well, I felt it was because when he got Larry Johnson and Latrell Sprewell to come sit there, that was try to a little bit to deflect from the racist aspect that it would be right there.
Yeah, that was
meaning
what that
that
strategy was.
He got two prominent Knicks to come sit with him, and both of them was black, and so it was sort of like, I'm down playing any kind of...
Sprewell's desperate for the cash.
And Sprewell will do anything, obviously, do
What's
anything.
Grandmama doing?
You know what? I thought he was doing good financial, but after doing that, he may not have understood the whole ramifications of anything or played anything.
Or they're trying to get into the organization, too.
Yeah, so...
People are just rotating in and out of that place like crazy.
They could have not knew anything about the whole situation, and just he called them and told them, you guys want to come and sit there, and then they said, okay, yeah, and then all of a sudden...
Oh, you got to know what's going on. That was a huge story.
It was, but you know what? They might not even associate it with them being part of it until it was flung into the front row, and then people start to speculate on why they're there.
But it was funny because you're kind of like saying, oh, what if LeBron James did that? Would they drag him out with security?
Or like I was saying, or Bo Jackson, or Joe Montana.
I'm like, who's Charles Oakley?
I'm telling you, in New York, he's
not
the
a legend.
man.
He's not a legend.
He's a legend in New
ain't
York.
No legend.
It's sort of like when we was talking about those fan bases, like in Cleveland. They might think somebody's a legend in Cleveland and you may not have heard about. But in New York, Oakley is he's a legend in New York.
He's good, but I mean, he ain't no legend.
I beg to differ. You wish we could have call-ins and have people come tell you about New Yorkers. They like him.
So I could laugh at him.
You could laugh at him, but because you're not in New York.
That's how bad the Knicks are.
Well, yeah. Both New
York
York
teams.
teams.
He did get to 2 finals with them, but
yeah.
I mean, he's not the main ingredient.
He was
Who was their top player?
He was Patrick Ewing, but
he was in the first one.
He was their enforcer, though. Because back then, basketball played basketball like they was boxers. Back then, basketball
until the Warriors,
like full contact.
Until the Warriors came out and just started throwing up threes all day.
Well, this has been a gradual change ever since they had the big fight when Ron Artest ran into the fans and started
Malice at the Palace.
When he ran in and started beating up fans, then that's when they start dialing it back and changing to take the violence out of basketball because they didn't want to deal with all these lawsuits that was.
Is that true?
That's true. That's the reason they started, because of the Malice in the Palace. It was.
I just figured it was the Warriors ruined everything.
No, this has been changing ever since then. They done made rules to take all of that out, so that won't happen again. It's like now they find them just to come off. If you come off the bench, you get fined. You get thrown out of the game if you don't. Even if you come off the bench and don't even get into the fight, any kind of swing now, you getting fined and thrown out of the game. So now they taking all the
boxing aspect.
They taking the boxing out of it. They like to say they taking the ghetto ball out. You know.
Oh, is that the exact term that they use?
Ghetto ball. You know, they don't. They don't want full contact of basketball anymore.
Speaking of Charles Oakley and LeBron James, I guess they're tight, but not that tight, because Charles Oakley, I was watching a video this morning of him trying to get into the locker room of the Cavaliers after they won the finals.
Yeah.
And he was just yelling at security guards, "Touch me, see what the happens. Touch me and see what the happens."
Yeah, I heard that. I didn't see that what you're talking about, but I heard him talking about that. He did that a couple of last year or 2 years, 3 years.
Last year when the Cavs won the finals.
Yeah, he tried to kind of use his celebrity status and stuff.
So I don't think it's just the fans that think Charles Oakley is a legend. I think Charles Oakley thinks Charles Oakley is a legend. I think there's a lot of entitlement issues over here.
You know what? There is. That's why when I said I don't think he was in the right.
Yeah.
But two wrongs don't make a right. So to me, both of them was wrong, and it could just been dealt with a lot better.
I was reading a list of Charles Oakley, and I guess he likes to hang out in Las Vegas a lot. And he has like a laundry list of Russians with security. He's suing security. Security guards are suing him. It goes back and forth. It's just constant like confrontation with this guy. And the thing is they never press charges in Vegas because he's a celebrity, and they don't want to have to deal with that whole thing.
Didn't hear that.
I'm like, what? How is this guy a sympathetic figure? This guy's pretty much hanging out with security all the time.
I think when it got really sympathetic was when they threw him down on the ground.
That's what he belongs.
And that could have been handled so much better.
Yeah, come on, Oakley, learn something.
Well, the way it could be handled better, if you know he's going to carry on like that.
Well, actually, I read an interview with James Dolan, the owner of the Knicks, and he was saying that it did go too far. That Oakley, he's saying that he was drunk and shouldn't have even been in the arena at all. They should have kicked him out immediately before he even got to that point.
But then other people were saying he wasn't drunk.
Yeah.
And I guess when they...
Oakley said he didn't do anything.
If he'd have been drunk when he got to the police station, don't you think somebody would have leaked that out, that he was over the legal limit? If he was actually drunk, the police would have let him blow into a breathalyzer in some kind of way.
Honestly, I hope he was drunk.
It'd have been like a wiki leak. It'd have been coming. It'd have just popped out there. So, it'd have been like, and then we'd have been trying to pick about fake news, Fake news. Was he really, when he threw that out there, was he faking? Was he really drunk or was he not? So you can't throw that out there without proof.
Well, the thing with...
I think he should be sued for slander.
The thing with James Nolan is that I was reading about him. Huh?
Dolan?
Dolan.
Yeah.
Did I say Nolan?
Yeah, close enough.
Is he tightens up on all his employees that they're not to say anything negative about the Knicks to any media outlet at all, or it's one and done, I guess. It's a tight-lip operation over there.
Well, that's probably why they're a last place or close to last place operation every year. In the day and age now, some of the players, I don't think you could shut them up, and if you're just going to get rid of them, you wouldn't have nobody. Like, do you think you could shut up Draymond? Huh? I don't think so.
You can't shut up Charles Oakley.
That's right. So, I don't know. It's like
Oakley said,
everybody now, since Trump then got into office, everybody wants to have a dictator mentality about him.
oh, Dolan's been doing this for years.
Yeah, well,
And he does it with the New York Rangers, too.
Oh,
he owns
God.
them, too.
Oh, he owns a hockey team, too?
He owns the Knicks, the Rangers, I guess the building, and then the media company.
Wow.
And he's a trust fund kid. His dad built all this up, and then...
So he's got bucks.
Yeah. And he plays in a blues band. This owner of the Knicks. Oh, and he's had his own alcohol problems, too. He's been in and out of rehab.
Oh, okay. So that's why he can throw that out to somebody else. He's just like
Everybody's a mess in this situation.
game messing, recognized game, huh?
Exactly. Oh, man. Well, also, so Charles Oakley just said that James Dolan was looking at him and then had security go over there and throw him out. Like, he didn't say anything to him at all. But there was also a New York Times article where Charles Oakley is quoted as saying that he would like to make some food for James Dolan, but he would probably do something to it, like, I guess, poison it. And then also that he wanted to be in a room alone with him, and if Dolan wants, he can have police outside the door.
Both of them is probably out of control. And
they hate each other, I'm going to say that.
Misery loves company. So you're
well, that's
right.
why Sprewell got in there.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, because he's a miserable guy, too, about now.
All right, well, you keep bringing up Donald Trump, which he's a pretty significant factor in the news today. And I guess a couple weeks ago, your other boy, Steph Curry, was concerned about, he's under contract with Under Armour. They make his shoes, which, I don't know, did you see his last shoes, those all white ones?
Oh, you look like doctor's shoes or something.
They're horrible. And I
but
guess
he's got some good-looking shoes now.
I guess they're losing a ton of money on him right now, especially since Kevin Durant came in, and now Steph Curry's yesterday's news, especially since he doesn't show up in the finals. But anyway, the Under Armour CEO, I guess, did some interview where he said that basically it wasn't like an endorsement of Trump. It was more like he thinks it's an asset to the country to have a pro-business guy in the White House.
Yes.
And Steph Curry said...
He said, well, I think...
Oh, wait, you're not going to say it. Right? The ass.
No, I'm not going to say that.
He said he's an ass.
He didn't necessarily say he was that. He said if
you
drop the ET...
That's what he is.
And then that's what he is.
Okay, so Steph Curry's letting his political opinion known.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I didn't see anything wrong with what Steph Curry did, but he probably, before he said something, he probably should have just, since it's a business partner of his, he probably should have.
Well, then he said that he was on the phone all day with Under Armour, I guess, executives. What are they doing? All day.
From what I can understand, it was.
And then the Under Armour CEO released a statement clarifying his comments that he.
Because from what I was hearing, they were saying that he, maybe he was questioning how he's in the business with somebody who's so fine, hold Trump with such esteem, and that him and he really don't understand Trump, as millions of people don't, being president, he's not presidential, and perhaps somebody that you in business with to say he's a asset, that's kind of what make me like questioning if I'm going to be in business with you too.
Well, I guess because it's like doing a deal with the devil. Like,
yes.
Okay.
You know what? I couldn't have phrased it better.
Why is Trump the devil? Everyone's freaking out. What's going on there?
Because of some of the things he done said and does. Like...
I don't follow politics enough.
Like I say, over the years, I voted both ways. I voted for one of the Bushes. I'm not sure which one. I done voted both ways. I usually kind of vote for the man, not the party.
What is your affiliation? You're a Democrat.
I am at the moment, but I can go both ways. I have went both ways. But the only reason I didn't go, because I couldn't have went for Trump, is because he's immoral. You know, I'm studying to be a pastor and stuff, and some of the things he done said and some of his views I
was offended when he said, "God bless the USA." I don't get that part. But anyway.
I get that part. I think God should bless us all. But it's just me. And on that subject, I am so glad to see that what Long decided that he's not going to the White House to meet Trump either. Because
Howie Long's kid,
yeah,
Chris Long, the Patriots defensive lineman, is not going to go.
He's not going because he don't want to meet Trump.
When the Patriots visit the White House,
That's
as
right.
is customary, league champions go to the White House to visit the president, but not all the players always go.
I got a new liking for him because you know what? It seems like every time we're going to try to protest something that's kind of like could be screwed as sort of like a racial situation, it seems like all the time the black players is always the ones who step up and have to make a stand. And here it is now. Here's a white person who's stepping up and making a stand. I got to applaud him on that. Meaning like for years it's always like,
well, they're saying Trump's not inclusive because of his immigration thing or the wall or both.
I think it's the wall. I think it's the thing about
Both
blocking the immigration.
Both of those are dumb
It's
policies.
just like some of the lazy people in America who didn't get off their duff and go vote. I got some friends who's really stressing right now because they got family members here. They're from overseas that they're here and they worrying now if the grandmother or the mother or something just get pulled over at by the police, if they're going to be sent back. All the kids is born here in California, but now what if their parents get sick, sent back to Syria or whatever? I forgot which one of those countries they're from. And it's just like, if somebody done lived here for 20, 30, 40 years, they ain't committed a crime during all that time, why would you want to send them back? And they got kids here.
It didn't go through though, right? The judge.
Well, judge them blocked it, but now he's trying to put out a new executive order to get around that.
Will he get it done?
I can't say.
Oh.
I don't know what his new executive order is, and I don't know how legally it'll stand up any better than his other one.
So I don't know. The country's built to withstand a crazy guy as president. He's just one piece of the government.
That's right, but guess what? You got some of these when you get one idiot in there, one crazy person, and then you know what? Some of the other ones might be on the edge. And they get this crazy person get to sounding good to some of these other ones who are on the edge, and all of a sudden you got 2, 3, 4, and it just starts to avalanche.
You know what would be the best thing for Donald Trump, and this could happen, is another 9/11. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no.
Well, I mean, because then he would get reelected easily. Because look, I told you, and you guys said you could let these people into the country, and of course it's going to be Middle Eastern people that do the deed.
You might think, but statistically in America, that don't bear out. Statistically in America,
there's no terror attacks.
Most
ever.
of the people who's terrorizing people in America is homegrown terrorists. People who's been.
Well, I'm talking about 9/11.
Only 9/11, but all the rest of the terrorist
Which, by the
attacks
way, those
as a
guys
totality add up to more than that.
By the way, those guys lived in the United States for like 2 years before they did that, right?
Yes.
They're taking like flight lessons in Florida.
Yeah, but they came in on the plan. But I'm just saying, if somebody done been living here for 20 years, obviously they ain't got no plan. So why would you want to send them back?
Well, I mean, I agree. It's a dumb. You can't fight crazy by being crazy. Crazy's just gonna happen.
You know what would be?
Right.
You know what would be nice for me he keep making these executive orders, and since his wife ain't from America, so he make an order, and somebody say, "Oh, she applies to that. We're sending her back." I like that. That's what would be good.
Where's she from?
I don't know.
You think she's attractive? Most attractive first lady of all time?
I happen to know one of the ones who was a first lady who was Jackie Onassis
She's number one?
was probably number one.
Yeah.
So, and Ivana Trump, I don't know how.
Ivanka, that's the daughter.
Ivanka. Well, what's her name?
Melanie?
Whatever her name is. She looks good. But I'm just saying.
She's number two then?
I don't know what all the other presidents' wives done look like over the years.
I mean, because I think after that it's a huge drop-off.
Okay, well, I could say, she's attractive.
It ain't Hillary.
I ain't holding that against
Michelle cleans up all right, I guess. She looks kind of masculine sometimes.
I thought she looked okay.
I would probably put her at 3 by default.
I don't know if I put her at 3, but I wouldn't put her at the bottom of the barrel.
And then before that, there's
I just don't know.
Laura Bush is all right, I guess. Wow, I'm reaching here.
Oh, God.
Not Barbara.
Oh, that's what I was thinking about when you were sitting.
No,
I was
no.
looking at the white-haired Barbara Bush.
Yeah, the young one.
I was up there like, wow.
Did you see George H. Bush at the Super Bowl? For the coin toss?
I also actually felt good about him being out there.
Yeah, because he was like, they had to drag him out there.
Oh, yeah, I
And
actually
he's
felt...
like, I'm doing this thing, I guess.
For me to say you feel good and stuff, that's how you know I'm just not totally a Democrat. Like I say, over the years, I've voted both ways. But it was nothing that could have made me vote for Trump.
I've never voted for a Democrat or a Republican.
So that means you haven't voted at all?
Yeah, I have.
So you just vote for an independent every time, huh?
I voted for, early on, I was extreme left. And then I got centered. So in the beginning, I voted for Ralph Nader in my first president election. And then the next time, because I moved to the middle, which is where I am now, the libertarian Gary Johnson I voted for last time.
All right. At least you still vote. I tell people all the time.
Well, I didn't vote this last time, though. I didn't care.
You didn't care?
No.
Oh, my God.
What?
Then don't ever complain. I tell people all the time,
I'm going to complain.
Don't complain about how you're going to be governed.
Huh?
If you don't vote, then you shouldn't take part in it at all.
Well, if I was going to vote, I would have been Gary Johnson. He got destroyed.
What difference does it make? So that means all the other votes, if you didn't vote for president, that means all the other votes, like the senator, the governors, and all of that.
Yeah, but I don't vote for Democrats or Republicans.
So you didn't vote for, but all these other things that go on during the election, you didn't vote for none.
Actually, I did register a Republican because I liked Ron Paul 4 years ago. So I could vote in that primary, but then he lost.
You still got other measures and stuff to be on the...
Actually, that is true, because there was the one here in California about forcing porn stars to wear condoms.
Yes.
That would have affected me. I don't want to see that. Any comment, Pastor?
I'm just not into porn, so it wouldn't affect me either.
That hasn't always been the case.
It's the case now. Where I was blind then, I can see now.
All right, so another thing we want to touch on here is OJ Simpson, which I think we're going to have to, we'll get started on this one, and then we might have to carry over till next week, because this is probably the greatest story ever told, is this OJ Simpson story, right? You agree with me on that, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You got everything.
Oh, yeah, OJ is...
The guy was on top of the world.
Yes.
Everybody loves him. And it all comes crashing down into this huge trial that nobody can take their eyes off of. And it's got all these different dynamics, all these characters. It's just... Well, anyway, OJ is eligible for parole
You know,
Before the end of this year.
sometime in
September.
July, or sometime in the
July.
summer.
Okay. So, you wanted to bring up OJ Simpson.
Oh yeah, because I think the only reason he's in this situation now is because he's an idiot. Because after it then got away,
The kidnapping thing.
the kidnapping.
Yeah.
Well, yes, that the person who actually had the gun done 9 months, and for OJ to have to be done 11 years in prison
Because the guy snitched on him, or
they turned evidence against him. But he's the one who had the gun, the only person in did. And so basically,
Well, you hear OJ.
they railroaded OJ
You hear
to
it.
try to pay him back for the perceived crimes that they thought he had committed when his ex-wife got murdered by somebody.
You do hear OJ on the tape when he goes, "Nobody leaves this room until I get my yeah."
Yes. But do you think that justified giving him 33 years, of which 9 he done already did? You get people who do murders, you get 4 worse than that, and they get life in prison, and I mean they get away sometime with less than that, like 5 or 6 years or something, and he go give him that. They railroaded him to try to pay him back for where some people perceive that he got away with murder, but I don't think he got away with murder, because I don't think he committed the murder.
You don't think he did it?
No.
What? Why do you say that?
You gotta understand them crooked cops in L.A.
They have a reputation.
That's right.
In the early
and
90s.
It's like they said during the thing, if you don't trust the messenger, you can't trust the message. And my whole thing is, I had operation at the time. I got to stay home and watch the whole trial. And there was a couple of aspects about the trial that I just, no way anybody in a sane mind could have found him guilty. Because once the police start lying, once you catch the police in 1 or 2 lying, you can't believe anything they're saying. You just cannot put somebody in prison for the rest of their life or give them the death penalty because you done caught police lying. The biggest issue was when they first found Nicole and them and stuff, they said, "Oh, this is OJ's wife." Well, they said, "Well, we better call OJ to make sure he's okay." Now, this is his ex-wife. What police is going to be thinking about, well, let's call
he was tight with the police.
What police are we going to call OJ to see if he's okay? So then
He was tight with them.
Okay, they called
Right?
OJ's house.
Yeah.
The maid told him he was on the way to the airport.
Yeah. Chicago.
They called the airport and said that his flight was leaving, so he was on the way. But their excuse for sending a police car over to OJ's house because they felt that his life might be in danger, when they already knew he wasn't there. Then when they came and they saw his Bronco parked a little bit crooked on the curb, they felt OJ might be in trouble, so that gave them grounds to go jump over his fence and come into his property. And when they knew he was not there, bald-faced lie. And when the police is lying about everything, if you can't trust the messenger, you can't trust the message. And the glove didn't fit.
Those are the 2 things?
Yeah, and Christopher Darden, he's an idiot too.
Yeah,
He was the one who tried the glove on without knowing if it would have fit. I used to live next door to him. And he was
You used to live next door to him.
2 doors over from him when we was growing up. I knew Christopher Darden ever since first grade or kindergarten. Yeah, lived right next door. We grew up. We went to Pullman Elementary and Adams Junior
He was one of your
High
boys.
and Kennedy High School. He was pretty quiet most of the time when he was in school, but I considered him a friend at the time until, like, at our 10-year reunion, he came to a reunion. He was flashing. He was saying, "Oh, I'm a deputy DA in Los Angeles County," and he was all high-siding and stuff. And we was all here, and about 5 or 6 couples, we was all sitting at one of these big tables that we all went to school with.
Yeah.
And so we was up there talking, and Chris Darden, out of the clear blue sky, just to tell you what kind of idiot this guy is. He says, you know what? All of us could have been anything we wanted to be, except Al.
What? That's real?
I looked at him now. Me and him, we're boys. We've been friends all
Wait,
our
what's
life.
the context of this conversation?
He was already flashing his badge, showing how, because he was a deputy DA in L.A. and county and stuff, how he'd have made it big over all the rest of us, because, Richmond is, pretty impoverished neighborhood, and just to see somebody that made it out. So he was flashing it and stuff. So we're sitting at the table, and out of the clear blue sky, he said, everybody could have been anything they wanted to except Al. And I looked at him, I said, what do you mean by that? He said, because all the rest of us graduated and you didn't.
College?
High school.
You didn't graduate high school?
I told you I got kicked out of school.
Oh, I didn't even realize you didn't graduate. Well, I know you went to some college.
I took the GED, went to the military, and came
okay.
out and went to college.
That's true.
But he was like that, and I said, what? And we got up, and they just broke us up. We was about to start fighting.
You almost fought Chris Darden?
I beat him up when we was in the 5th grade. I was going to beat him up again. Badge and all. His badge was no good in Richmond.
What year was this?
It was our 10-year class reunion, so we got out in 74, so this must have been
1984?
in 84. And then,
The year I was born.
so 5 years later, we had our 15-year class reunion, and that was when the trial was going on.
Almost. It was 89.
No,
So it
our
wasn't.
20-year class reunion,
94
whatever.
would be, yeah.
Whatever it is. It was our 20-year class reunion.
Yeah.
So on the Friday, he got the court to stop the trial and let him off early
So you
because
go to
he
that
wanted to attend
Yeah.
our class reunion, just because he wanted to gloat again.
Yeah.
So when he came there, me and a couple of our buddies showed up there, and we all had one glove on our hand saying, if it don't fit, you must have quit.
Did you do that to him?
Yes.
Are you
Everybody.
serious?
The day before was when he put the glove on, it didn't fit. And he came there, and we all came with a glove on.
Is this a true story?
True story.
And then what's his reaction to that?
We got into a big argument again. And everybody, it's just
Well, I
the
guess
same
he's one of your boys. So
Yeah.
It's not like...
But we was cool. I mean, for him to even go like that, it was just, I could not believe it.
Everybody but Al.
Everybody except me. How would he even remember that I didn't graduate? Do you remember all the guys you went to school with? Do you remember the ones who didn't graduate?
Well, I was a ghost in high school. Nobody knew who I
But
was.
I'm just, how do you even remember something like And then
Nobody
one of my
remembers
buddies,
me.
Dale, he was up there talking about, this is my boss. I mean, I'm his manager. And he's up there like, what are you talking about, Al? I'm sitting here, I'm driving a new Corvette. I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
And he going to talk about, we could have all done anything except me.
So you had to kick his ass. after
Oh,
that.
man, I sure wanted to.
Well, I mean, you guys grew up beating his ass. So.
Yeah. He was like to go there, but just the way he was, it served him right.
Yeah, because then he disappears after the trial. We don't hear
Well,
about him.
they got, basically, it was all of them got, him, Marsha Clark and him, they all got fired. They got forced to retire
Yeah.
after the trial because of some of the egregious errors that they made. But to me, it was like a house of cards. When you building your whole case on a lie, they wasn't possibly going to win.
When was the last time you saw Chris Dolan?
Chris Darden,
Darden.
I saw him at the state championship, maybe a high school state championship game
Uh-huh.
in Stockton about maybe 10 years ago. And he was sitting across, and we just looked at each other, but didn't say nothing to him. I just kind of just looked over there at him.
Oh, why don't you go say...
Because,
What was the last time you saw him before that? That 1994 reunion?
Yeah.
Oh.
After that, I didn't want to see him no more.
What?
Why would I want to see him anymore?
He's a big shot.
He's not. He's nothing.
Yeah, he plays a huge role in the greatest story ever told.
Well, it was the greatest lie ever,
Okay, well,
And every time I tell people I think OJ is innocent,
yeah.
oh, it ticks some people off so good. So
Oh,
a lot
that's
of times I just bring it up just when I want to needle some people real good.
So who did it?
Some people think his son did it, but I don't know if his son done it or not.
What about the blood on the Bronco? Police planted it.
Look, they took 3 vials of blood from him, and when Johnny Cochran asked for the blood back, they didn't have none of the blood. Well, when they first went and checked the car, there was no blood.
They were all messed up with
When they first checked the car, no blood. When they first checked all around the house, the fence, no blood. When they checked the house, there was no blood. Then all of a sudden, when they got the blood sample 3 or 4 days later from OJ, they went back and checked. Oh, it's blood on the fence. Oh, it's blood up on the socks. Oh, it's blood over here. But can you imagine if somebody killed somebody with a knife, 2 people, and you wrestling with them and you cutting them like that, blood is shooting all over you. Blood is all over you. If you went and got in your car, how could you get all that blood out? When they said he ran into the house and ran back out and jumped in the limousine. So how did he get all the blood out of the car?
I mean, there was blood on the Bronco, I thought.
A couple of little specks. This was the blood that they got from him when they wanted to test his blood. When they tried to get the blood back, they didn't have none of the blood because they done put the blood all over the place they could find. But before they got the blood, they didn't have any blood.
I have to watch that documentary again.
I watched it. I know this. I'm not giving you bad info here. They didn't. And that's the way all the blood got around there. And so they were scattering blood. Then they came back. But the point is, you didn't kill 2 people and you jump in the car with somebody. I mean, you jump in the car and you driving. You got to really, on their timeline, he had to be driving like about 70, 80 miles an hour through the city to make it to there to make their timeline work. How did he have time while he was driving to be wiping the car down all up under him and blood not getting on him? Blood would have been all over that seat. They said he jumped out the car. The limousine driver said he saw somebody run into the house. So that means he didn't come, when he came out the car, he didn't go back to the car to wipe it down. He got in the limo to go on to the airport.
Yeah.
How could he have got rid of all of that? If you cut somebody like they was, don't you think it would have been blood all over him? More than a couple of specks of blood?
Probably on the front of his shirt, yeah.
I killed a cow one time, and I stabbed him in the neck, and blood gushed all over me.
Oh, man.
I done cut heads off of chickens, blood go everywhere. Whenever you cut something, especially if you cut 2 bodies up, blood is going to go all over you. More than 1 or 2 specks of blood is going to get on you.
Wasn't the glove frozen for a long period of time? And didn't OJ's hands swell up from medication or something?
If they don't fit, you must have quit.
All right, we'll have to continue this discussion next week.
All right.
Maybe I need to watch that. That
watch
documentary was fantastic. I watched all 8 hours in one day.
And so I'm sure the documentary made him look guilty.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why.
Well, if you watch that other thing, the other show they got on OJ, they got the OJ and was OJ innocent. And if you look at the same stuff and some of the inner stuff they came up when they had 2 blood shoe marks off in there, when it showed it was somebody else part of the crime scene, and they never would bring that up. They got it suppressed and stuff.
Well, one thing I would say about it is that the defense team did a phenomenal job presenting the slightest bit of doubt. If there was any doubt, they nailed it.
It was doubt because he didn't do it.
It really looks like he did it.
Okay.
I don't know why it would be surprising that he did it.
Well,
He
I
beat the
just
crap
look
out
at
of
it
her
this way.
all the time.
12 jurors said that he didn't do it.
All right, on that note, this is the Big Al and Dave podcast. We'll continue the OJ discussion next week. But for now, I'm Dave. He's Al.
Big Al, Raider X.
And anything else?
If it doesn't fit, you must have quit.
All right, later.